Are you planning on attending my wedding by any chance?
Well, yes, that's why you sent me an invitation, right? I'm assuming that you want me there, otherwise you wouldn't have invited me. Why do you have a problem with me attending your wedding?
Actually, I do. I don't want you at my wedding. I only sent you the invitation because Mom wanted me to. And I hope that you don't plan on bringing that husband of yours either.
His name was written on the invitation. He plans on coming with me. Luckily, he doesn't need to work that day.
Well, sorry, but I don't want either of you to come to my wedding.
Why?
First of all, your husband creeps me out.
Why would you say such a thing about him? You're being rude. What has he ever done to you?
Nothing. But it freaks me out that he only has one real arm.
Yes, Ted has an artificial arm, so what? I don't think that's ever affected you in any negative way.
I'm just saying that it's not a pretty sight to see. I don't want someone like Ted at my wedding. What will the other guests think?
Do you realize how discriminatory you're being right now? You shouldn't talk about other people in this way. Ted is my husband. You should know that it would make me upset for you to say such mean things about him to my face.
Well, I really can't say how I feel to anyone else, can I? It's my wedding and I should be able to choose my guests. I'm sorry, but someone with a prosthetic arm is not welcome.
It's not Ted's fault that he has a prosthetic arm. We're sisters, so I can put up with you saying mean things about me, but not about my husband. I want you to stop. What gives you the right to be so self-righteous? I love Ted, and I won't have anyone saying bad things about him.
How can you love Ted so much? He only has one working arm. Doesn't that turn you off? He's not normal. Why did you go out of your way to marry someone that has a disability? Oh, I guess it's a matter of normal guys not being attracted to you, huh?
Ted is like any other man out there. Why are you discriminating against him because of his arm? Can we change the subject now? I don't want to talk about this with you anymore. You need to grow up for the sake of your fiancé, too. You're 30 years old. You should keep certain feelings to yourself.
I like to be honest and open about the way I feel.
I guess we're gonna have to agree to disagree then. If you don't want Ted and I to come to your wedding, we won't. Are you happy now?
Yes, that's what I want. Please don't say anything about this to Mom, though. I don't want her to make a big deal out of this. To be honest, I wouldn't mind if you were at my wedding. I just don't want Ted there.
I don't know why Ted needs to be punished for something that's not his fault. I hate that you're doing this to him.
It's my wedding day, and I should be able to choose who gets to be there and who doesn't. I'm so happy that my fiancé has both of his arms. And he's really successful, too. He works for a great company and he gets paid really well. He's working on a really big multi-million-dollar project right now. I'm so proud of him.
I'm glad that you found a man that makes you happy. He may be working on a big project right now, but it's not like he's going to get all the money. He's just an employee.
Oh, shut up. You're just jealous that I'm marrying such a great guy. I can see why you'd be jealous, but don't take it out on me.
I don't think that I'm taking it out on you. I'm just sick and tired of listening to your bragging all the time.
Oh, we're going to have the perfect wedding. You just wait and see. We're both stunning and my fiancé is rich. We're a golden couple. We need the guests of our wedding to be as supreme as we are.
A golden couple? You must be joking. You're a temp at your company.
That doesn't matter because I found myself the perfect husband.
Fine, have it your way. I won't say anything anymore.
One thing's for certain. My fiancé is better than Ted in the fact that he has both of his arms.
Why do you have to compare them? They're different. Do you enjoy being mean to Ted?
I think you two make the perfect couple.
Yes, we are, and not in the way that you think. I'm very happy being married to Ted. I don't think that you're better than us in any way.
Well, believe what you want. I know the truth.
I guess our truths are different then. I'll try to make it to your wedding if I can. I'll let you know once I've decided. If you don't want me there, I'm happy to not attend as well.
I already made up my mind. You can come, but not Ted.
Well, if Ted's not invited, then I'm not going either. Have a great wedding, Helen.
Why are you at my wedding? You said you wouldn't come. And you brought Ted with you. How could you do this to me?
It's more like, how could you do that to Ted? I know that you don't like him, but did you really have to pour wine onto his head? What were you thinking? What you did was unforgivable.
Well, it's your fault for ignoring my wishes. I'm the one that should be angry, not you.
What the hell is wrong with you, Helen?
I told you not to bring your disabled husband to my wedding. How many times do I have to tell you that? You told me that you wouldn't come to my wedding if Ted wasn't invited. Why did you change your mind? You did the one thing I asked you not to do. You brought Ted. Did you want to ruin my wedding? Is that what this is all about?
I did not ruin anything. You're the one that made a scene by pouring wine on Ted.
So you're placing the blame on me then?
You're the one that kicked us out of your wedding, even though we didn't do anything wrong. You're the one that should feel ashamed about all of this. I told you that I wouldn't be at your wedding, but Ted was invited as one of the groom's guests, and I accompanied him as his wife.
You're not making any sense right now. Why would Ted be invited as one of the groom's guests? I'm sure that he just wanted to take part in this wedding, so he must have lied to you about getting an invitation from my fiancé. Who does that? Well, he should have never come. He doesn't belong there.
You're unbelievable, Helen, and so rude. I'm ashamed to be your sister.
I can say the same thing right back at you. Why did you marry Ted in the first place? Doesn't his prosthetic arm creep you out? I don't ever want to see either of you at the wedding reception again.
Are you sure that this is what you want?
Yes, I'm sure. Now please leave.
We're leaving then. I hope you're happy. Let me just say this, though. Ted is a CEO, and he's one of your husband's big clients.
What?
But I guess it doesn't matter to you. Your husband's the one that's going to have to deal with the aftermath. Your only concern is having the perfect wedding. Enjoy the rest of your wedding. We're leaving now. Bye. I'm also cutting all ties with you. Please don't contact me ever again.
Where are you now? Are you still close by? I need to speak to you. Will you meet me?
I've left and I'm home now.
How did you get home so fast?
Wanted to get home as soon as possible after you threw wine at Ted. And I asked you not to get in touch with me. I'm not your sister anymore.
I know that you're mad at me, but I still need to talk to you. Were you serious when you said that Ted is one of my husband's clients at work? My husband is freaking out because he says that Ted no longer wants to do business with him. He's worried that the big project is going to be canceled as well.
Well, your husband should be worried. Ted only attended your wedding because your husband invited him, but you came over and poured wine on him. Ted has every reason to be furious. Ted is smart to end business with your husband. We want nothing to do with you after what you did to him.
Do you find this funny? I'm in a lot of trouble here. My husband is flipping out, and I don't know what I can do to calm him down. And he doesn't seem to care about our wedding reception anymore.
I see. That must suck for you.
You're my sister. Shouldn't you be more concerned?
I don't consider us to be sisters anymore after the way you treated Ted. Remember, I cut all ties with you.
That's not the point. I'm in a lot of trouble and I need your help. My husband knows about what happened between Ted and I.
I'm not surprised that he did.
project has been canceled too!
I'm sure that your husband is livid with you.
He is! He tells me that he's going to annul our marriage! And I guess our wedding reception is canceled as well!
Well, you saw this coming. You should have never been so rude to Ted.
Will you please pick up my call?
Why should I? I have nothing to say to you. You're not supposed to be contacting me anymore.
I need your help! Please, fix this! I want to talk to you on the phone!
Well, I don't, and I have no intention of helping you. You need to deal with this on your own. I asked you to stop disrespecting Ted, but you did it anyway. This is all your fault. I hope that you learn a good lesson from this. You need to grow up and take responsibility for your actions.
I never expected Ted to be my husband's client! You could have given me a heads up! All I asked was for Ted not to attend my wedding. I don't think that I did anything wrong!
If you think you haven't done anything wrong, then I'm sure it'll all blow over. But I still can't forgive you for making discriminatory remarks at Ted. You're on your own. I need to go now. Bye.
The wedding's been called off. What am I going to do now? I need you to fix this! It's your fault for not telling me Ted was my husband's super important client!
How can you blame me? You did this all on your own. The fact that you don't see that makes you an idiot.
What did you just call me?
All I did was go to my sister's wedding. I didn't do anything wrong. You're the one that deliberately spilled wine on Ted and kicked us out. You need to deal with the consequences of your actions. You really need to grow up, Helen. I'm sure that you now understand that if you badmouth someone, it's going to bite you in the ass. I hope that from now on, you keep that in mind and stop making such stupid mistakes.
Right now, the most important thing for me is saving my marriage. I quit my job, so without my husband, I'll have no place to live. What am I going to do now?
That's not my problem, but I'm sure that neither your husband nor any of the other relatives will take your side.
Be so cold to me. Don't you care about my future at all? Please talk to Ted and apologize to him for me. I didn't know that he was one of my husband's clients.
Why in the world would I do that? I'm on Ted's side and he has every right to be angry. What you did is unforgivable.
But you're my sister. We're family. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
I've cut all ties with you, so we're not family. Please don't bother me and Ted anymore. Why don't you talk to Mom and Dad?
So you're just going to abandon me?
I'm not abandoning you. I need to go. Bye.
I quit my job. What am I going to do if my husband leaves me? This isn't my fault. You should have told me about Ted's work. I don't deserve any of this.
Ted has a disability and it's not something that he wants to be reminded of, let alone made fun of by you. But you laughed at him and poured wine on him. Ted doesn't use his disability to get special treatment, and he's worked very hard. Much more than the average person. You should have never disrespected him. What you did was very wrong. And you deserve every bit of punishment coming your way.
I'm sorry about what I said and did to Ted. I realized how wrong I was.
So you're finally apologizing for your actions? That took a while. Do you realize how long it took you to apologize and acknowledge that this is your fault?
Yes, and I'm very sorry. Will you please talk to Ted now?
If you really felt bad about what you've done, you wouldn't be asking me for any favors. Look, the project's canceled and there's nothing you can do about it, so just move on. Instead of worrying about your failed marriage, you should worry about getting a new job.
Why bother apologizing if you're not even going to help me out?
You should be apologizing. You did something wrong. I'm seeing your true colors, and it isn't pretty. I don't have any more time to waste on you. Bye. You must be elated that you were able to kick Ted out of your wedding. Melanie blocked Helen after that and never spoke to her sister again. Helen's husband left her after he found out about what she had done to Ted. Helen had no choice but to move into a shabby apartment and look for a new job. The guests of Helen's wedding saw how she was talking to Ted, and they recorded everything that she said and did to Ted on that day. The video of her pouring wine on Ted went viral after someone posted it on social media. After that, no one wanted to hire Helen, and she was forced to live a very hard life. Helen should never have made fun of Ted's disability. Had she been more compassionate, none of this would have happened to her. The joke's now on her.
Rachel, congratulations! You two looked fabulous. I'm glad you had a successful wedding. Yes, it was wonderful, wasn't it? We did a great job of decorating the venue ourselves. I'm happy the guests liked it too. You guys decorated the venue yourselves? That way, we can keep the costs down. We tried doing as much as we could. Rachel, I gave you $40,000 for your wedding. That should have been more than enough to cover the wedding fee. So why did you have to do things yourselves to save money? Right after you got engaged, you guys came to me begging in tears, saying you nor your parents had enough money for a wedding ceremony. You also said you wanted it to be as extravagant as possible, since it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I had no choice but to help you out with a fortune. So how come that wasn't enough? You know, prices are skyrocketing nowadays. So, it cost more than we expected. Today's wedding was nice. But to be honest, I didn't think it was a $40,000 ceremony. The food was average, and the wines were clearly cheap. Tell me the truth. Where the hell did all my money go? That has nothing to do with you. You gave that money to us as a gift. It became our money, so I have no obligation to tell you how we used it. It's absurd for you to pry into our money. What? It was such a nice wedding today, but you ruined my good mood, Avery. This is why I hate mother-in-laws. They always try to lecture their daughter-in-laws, thinking they become our bosses or something. What do you mean by that? Even though I gave you guys that money and it became yours, that money was for the wedding expenses. If there was any chance it was used for something else, of course I would ask questions. Shut up! Just stop contacting me. Talking to you makes me feel sick. Bye. You always run away from my questions. Hi, Avery. Why are you texting me, Rachel? I thought talking to me makes you sick. I feel better now after a night's sleep. Anyways, I have something new to discuss with you. Is now a good time for you? I have a bad feeling about this. Can you just cut to the chase? Actually, we're thinking of living at your house. So can we move in this weekend? What? Here? Why would you want to move into your mother-in-law's house? Now that the wedding is over, it's time to think about buying a house, right? Last night, John and I talked about how we can purchase a house, but we realized it'd be difficult in our financial state. In the end, we came to the conclusion that we should have your house instead of purchasing one. Do you mean you guys want to live with me? No way! I don't want to live together with my mother-in-law when we're still newlyweds. We want to live in that house with just the two of us. So, could you move out of that house ASAP? What? Your husband passed away years ago, so you live in that huge house all alone. But don't you think it's a waste? You have extra unused rooms, right? It's true that I have many unused rooms, but you can't just tell me to give it to you and kick me out. Living together would just be stressful for both of us. Our ways of thinking are so different. We'll never be able to live together in peace, don't you think? In any case, this house will eventually be passed on to the eldest son, John. So, why should it be a problem if you give it to him now? You're not the one to decide on the inheritance. But that's what usually happens, right? Your daughter, Christina, is already married and has moved out. Then, it's natural for John to inherit this house. There's no problem for us to live there a bit earlier than planned. You guys only think about yourselves. What about me, who's gonna get kicked out? Where shall I go? If I'm going to give you this house, you're gonna prepare somewhere for me to live, right? That's none of my business. Why don't you rent a small apartment for seniors? You guys are gonna pay the rent then? That's the least you can do. Huh? You should handle that on your own. You still have your husband's inheritance, right? Or you could move into your daughter Christina's house. You have no intention of supporting me with anything? Even though you're trying to kick me out of my own house? Then there's no merit for me to give up this house. I can't accept such nonsense. You have to accept this. We've already canceled our lease on the apartment we're living in. We're packing up our stuff so that we can move out this weekend. I've already made arrangements to rent a truck. What? So please move out. But if you say it's impossible, I guess I have no choice but to let you live with us. But in that case, you'll have to pay the rent. Pay you guys the rent? That's crazy. Once we move in, that house will become ours. John is the eldest son, so he has every right to inherit that house. If you're gonna live with us, you have to at least pay the rent to show some gratitude. Not all young people allow their in-laws to live with them, you know. How arrogant are you? And how much are you setting the rent at, by the way? Well, let's see. I don't want to live with you, so considering the inconvenience fee, how about $2,000 a month? $2,000 a month to just live in your own house? If you pay $2,000 a month, I'll let you live with us. If you have a problem with that, please move out ASAP. I'll go live with my daughter and her husband. Well then, goodbye. If you're going to move out, please do so by the end of this week. Please, give my regards to Christina. Christina, I'm sorry to ask you this on such short notice, but could you let me stay at your place for a while? I've decided to move out of this house. What's going on all of a sudden? I got a call from Rachel just now. Now that they're newlyweds, they want to buy a house. But since they don't have the money, she asked me to hand over the family home to them. They thought the eldest son would eventually inherit it, so it wouldn't be a problem handing it over a bit early. What? And you decided to hand it over? Just for the time being. I've had enough of their selfishness. So for now, I'm going to pretend like I'm giving it to them. And in the meantime, I'm going to prepare to cut ties with them. Cut ties with them? I don't want to see Rachel or John, who is letting her do as she pleases. So I'm sorry, but would you let me stay at your place for a while? Out of anger, I couldn't help but bluster out that I'll go to your place. I'd be happy if you could let me stay until your husband comes back from the business trip. Of course. I was feeling rather lonely without my husband around, so I'd be glad to have you here. I'm sure my husband will be okay with it. Thank you. I'll move out as soon as I'm done with all the arrangements. There's no need to rush. Let's work together to get it done ASAP. If you're going to cut ties with him, I will too. You too? To be honest, I've always hated John. He always exaggerates the fact that he's the eldest son, saying how he's better at things than me. And his wife, Rachel. She has a similar personality to him. In fact, she was making fun of me behind my back. Oh, really? Right after she married John, she called me out to have a chat. She said, with my husband being the heir, we will be in charge of this family from now on. We shall decide everything, including how to share the inheritance. She said such things without my approval? That couple thinks that the eldest son holds some kind of power. But I'm fed up with them. I want to take this opportunity to cut them off, so let me help you. In that case, you and I shall work together. All right. Well, I'll pack up my stuff and be on my way. Hey, Avery. I didn't know your house was this old. It's much more inconvenient than I thought. Don't complain after taking it away from me. You two couldn't afford to buy your own house, so that's why you decided to live in my house by kicking me out. You're so mean. If you decided to give this place to us, you should have cleaned it up beforehand. In that case, we'll renovate it ourselves. So, Avery, please transfer the renovation money to our account. 100K. Huh? Just after you ask for the wedding expenses, next you ask for the renovation fee. And I can't believe you're asking 100K again. It's all because this house is too old. Even though we live here, we haven't officially inherited it yet. Since it's in your name, you, the owner of the house, should pay. You're just going to keep quibbling over it. Besides, even if I give you money for the renovation, I don't trust you to use it all for the house. Stop that griping and just transfer the money. If you do so, I might allow you to come visit us once. Huh? I hate having strangers in my house. That's why I have no intention of inviting you over. But if you're gonna pay for the remodeling, that's a different story. You can come visit us just once. Don't tell me you thought I'd offer you money for that. If you don't give us money, you may never see your son and his wife again. Your husband has passed away, and your daughter is now married. We, your son and his wife, are the only ones left who can look after you. You'll end up living a lonely retired life if you refuse to pay. That's fine with me. I was going to cut ties with you two anyways. You guys shall never get any money from me again. I never want to see your face ever again. What? And also, did you know that you aren't allowed to renovate a rental property without permission? It's common sense, you know. I can't believe my son married a woman who didn't even know that. Rental property? Well then, take care. Please, give my regards to my son John. Wait a minute. What do you mean by rental property? You built this house, right? You should be the owner. If you give us permission, there would be no problem. That was until a week ago. Now, that house belongs to my daughter Christina. I was renting the house from her until you kicked me out. When in the world did you give it to Christina? We never heard anything about it. I gave you 100K for the wedding, but actually, it was my gift to you guys before my death. In other words, it was my inheritance. I wanted to give Christina the same amount, but it was hard to give her cash. So instead, I gave her this house. That was your inheritance? Christina and her husband had been planning to buy a new house, but her husband went away on a long-term business trip, so they couldn't make time to search for houses. That's why I decided to give them this house. They can renovate it to their liking, or if they want to buy another house, they can just rent it out or sell it to make some money. Oh no! I always thought this house was too big to live alone. Therefore, I was going to use this as an opportunity to rent an apartment. When I told Christina about this, she said, "You can stay there until my husband comes back and we move in." That's how I lived there free of rent. But now that the resident has changed, she said she'd stop the rent-free service. She wants $2,000 per month from you. Why won't she rent us for free too? We're family. I'm her sister-in-law. She dislikes you. What? I heard from Christina how arrogant you were in front of her. There's no way she will let you live there rent-free. But $2,000 per month is too expensive. This house is old. A similar house can be rented for about $1,700. It may be expensive compared to the market, but the owner of the house has the right to decide the rent. You've gotta be kidding me. Then why don't you, her mother, do something about it? Your son and his wife are about to get ripped off by your daughter. Do something to protect us. As usual, it's always about you. This is why I hate daughter-in-laws. They're so selfish and arrogant that I can't communicate with them. Huh? Don't depend on your mother-in-law, whom you despise so much. If you have a problem with the rent, get out. If you want to stay, pay $2,000 a month. That's the only choice you guys have.
Mom! Why won't you take our side? I can't believe you gave up this house to Christina without asking me. Even though I'm Christina's brother, she's charging us a monthly rent of $2,000. This is absurd.
Your wife charged me the same amount as rent in exchange for living with you guys in the house I used to live in. Didn't you think that was absurd?
That's different. You two may be family now, but you used to be strangers just until a few weeks ago. It can be exhausting to live with in-laws, so I don't think it was wrong of her to charge you a rent.
Then, it's not strange for Christina to charge you guys a rent either. Even if Rachel became her sister-in-law now, they were strangers until recently.
What the hell? Why aren't you taking our side? And I heard you're trying to cut ties with us.
Yes, that's right. You were blustering around saying that you're the eldest son and heir to the family. We're no special family, so I don't understand why you thought the eldest son had power over the family. Even though I disliked your attitude, I still helped you guys pay for the wedding. Now that I've fulfilled my parental duty, I shall no more support you in any way. I'll cut ties with you, so you two can go on with your lives as you please.
You'll later regret that. If you cut us off, you won't be able to rely on us when you get old and need care.
I refuse any care from my idiot son and his wife. I'd rather pay a fortune and hire a pro to take care of me. Not every parent wants their children to take care of them, you know. I'm gonna live in a luxury retirement community and use up all the money I have.
No!
Don't ever contact me again. I don't want to see you or your hideous wife ever. Because of you, we have to move out of this house. So you should pay for the moving and the new house. Demanding money again. Don't you get tired of begging for money? What's wrong with asking for money? You know what? This is all your son's fault for not making enough money. Parents are supposed to cover for their children's mistakes. That's why I asked you for the wedding money and the house. Why are you making me the bad one? Excuse me? If John's income was enough, I wouldn't have had to ask you. But after he quit his job, he can't seem to get any decent jobs. That's why we are always in need of money. So what's wrong with asking you, my mother-in-law, for some financial support? Now I see why you were so rude to me. You're blaming me for your own poverty. Stop blaming me for your own financial troubles. Is it a parent's responsibility to cover for their children's mistakes? Don't make me laugh. That's only until they graduate high school. What? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. You're the one who chose to marry a man who makes only little money. You went out with my son because you liked him. Don't blame me for your own mistakes. You have poor judgment when it comes to men, I guess. You don't have to be so mean. I just asked for some money. Why can't you just suggest that we live together? Huh? I heard that you already moved out of Christina's house. You rented an apartment somewhere, right? Then why don't you let us live there too? Your son and his wife are in trouble. I don't care whether you cut ties with us or not. I'll accept living together, so you should let us move in. Then, you'd better pay me $2,000 per month as rent. What? Even though you're my daughter-in-law, we don't see each other as family, right? It'd sure be tiring to live together, so it's only natural for me to charge you, just like you charged me. No. That's too expensive. It's just an apartment. If you are going to complain about it, do something yourself. If you can't afford it, you can't stay at my place. Go live in a park or under a bridge. Oh no. Don't expect me to help you after you kicked me out. Well, good luck with your newlywed life. When times are tough, remember the gorgeous wedding you had. As long as you have good memories, you'll be able to carry on. My son and his wife rented a cheap apartment and are living a modest life. I later found out that they had spent most of the wedding money I gave them for casino games. They ended up having debts of tens of thousands of dollars. I am truly ashamed of having such a son and daughter-in-law. They are now desperately trying to figure out where I am by begging Christina. But Christina answered, I think your debt collectors have taken Mom somewhere. It's your fault you lost Mom. Thanks to Christina's great act, I am living a quiet and peaceful retirement in my new home.